You may not believe what is in this box because as far as I know, it is a one of one. So let me show it to you.
Welcome back, sir. All systems for gaming will be prepared in a few minutes. For now, feel free to grab a cup of coffee and have a good day.
Hey everyone, Mike here. Welcome back to the Marvel Man Cave. Thank you for joining me on today's video. I'd say this is something a little bit different, but it's all Man Cave related. So it's not just physical media here. It's basically anything that I would say impacts the Man Cave. I haven't done a ton of videos on my comic book collection. I know you see it in every video behind me, but I'm going to break that streak today. Yesterday in the mail, I got this package, and to be perfectly honest, I had no idea what it was. I saw the box, I didn't recognize the return label off the top of my head, and so yeah, I went ahead and opened it. So I know what's in here, I've already looked at it, but it was so stunning that I needed to make a video and share it to the rest of you guys because we're all friends here, and I wanted to share it and show this off. So what's in here is I have two comics back in it's either March or April, whenever C2E2 came around in Chicago a couple months ago. I dropped off a total of, it was either 8, I think it was a total of 8 comics, but 2 of them were signed, and I had already submitted those to their new JSA service to have the signatures authenticated, and then, you know, all the good stuff pressed and slabbed and all that stuff. So for whatever reason, I got the 2 signed ones back first, and I'm waiting on my other ones to come in, but I never got a shipment notification. I don't really check the CGC website that frequently, maybe once a week. And apparently this shipped on the 25th and it arrived 2 days later. So I had no idea it was coming. So when it showed up on my front step, it was a little bit of a surprise. And I wasn't really expecting anything because it had been so long at this point. I hadn't really thought about it too much. But I'm going to go ahead and crack this open because I'm sure you're curious about what's in the box. So we're going to go ahead and crack this open, and this was tight. I put everything back just the way it came out initially. So obviously this is packed very well. And then this huge thing here. And then we're going to take these out, and some of you may recognize the back. So I'm going to show you, I have 2 comics in here. I'm going to show you the one first. So again, these were all already signed. I did not get them authenticated at the show, but I know CGC had partnered with JSA, and I can't remember what that stands for, but it was an authentication organization. So, you know, if you had something that had been signed at a show or elsewhere, they will authenticate the autograph, and then you can still get the yellow label with that as well. So the first one that I got done, put this over here, was Lucky Devils #1. It's from the guys who wrote 8 Billion Genies. It is Charles Soule and Ryan Browne. This one is autographed by Charles. I got this off his website. It was one of the, I would say, preview editions of this. And I think I ended up getting 2 of these at the time because I wanted to read it. And I knew I would probably get one slab because I'd already seen the artwork and I love the artwork. Honestly, I kind of knew I was going to love the comic because I absolutely loved 8 Billion Genies. And so I got the autograph version and I got the preview edition, and I still bought the versions from my local comic shop, Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, Illinois. Check them out. I still bought those, and I honestly think that version came signed too. So I have this in several signed versions, but I decided to go ahead and get this because I have a copy of 8 Billion Genies #1 that was signed, and I thought this would go great in the collection. So as you can see, this came back at 9.8. It does get the yellow banner because I know before, at least from my understanding, I am not an expert at grading, so please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about any of this. But from my understanding, if you sent in something that was signed before and it wasn't authenticated, I think you got a green label, so you didn't get the universal. You got a green one that showed that it was signed or something like that, but it wasn't an authentic autograph. But obviously with the JSA now, you can get it authenticated and you still get the yellow label. So got this one, very excited, came back in 9.8, which ultimately I don't really care about because I really got this for the shelf and to put beside 8 Billion Genies. So I was really happy about that. This one is 8 Billion Genies. It is the director's cut. So you can see that there. It's the director's cut of 8 Billion Genies. They released this, I don't know how many months after this had already been out that they released this, but they announced that they were doing them, I think, at the show, and it was limited to 500. And this was one I went up to Charles' booth and bought the comic, and honestly started to walk away. I was like, oh, I kind of want to get this because I love the comic so much. And started to walk away, and I remember Charles being like, do you want me to sign it? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I don't know why it never struck me to have him sign it, considering I was standing there talking to him for several minutes. It was just, we were having a conversation. I bought the comic, and I was like, all right, you have a good day. And then he offered. So it was kind of funny. So obviously you can see it's got Ryan and Charles's autograph on it. But what stunned me is it came back a 10.0. I don't think I'd ever seen a 10.0 in my entire life. Maybe at a show behind the booth or something along that line, but I was absolutely stunned when I pulled this out of the box and saw that it was a 10.0, because I mean, I didn't not take care of this, but this has been sitting on the shelf behind me in kind of one of those protective plastic cases, because I had intended to take it to a show and have it encapsulated because I wanted it that way. And it's a fairly thick, you can't really get the idea here, but it's a pretty thick one. And I always felt like I was like, oh, the pressure's going to get to it. But again, I didn't really care that much. And so this came back at 10.0, and I was just stunned. You can kind of see on the back, it is 102 of 500. I know the higher the number is usually the better one, but I was so stunned at this, I just had to share it with you guys because I'm still kind of stunned that it came back at 10.0. I'd be curious how many of you have seen a 10.0 comic. I'm not a professional grader by any stretch of the imagination, and really kind of have any idea, because I send comics in that I think I have the first appearance of Century that when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's 9.8. I don't see anything wrong with it. And then I think it came back like a 9.2, and I'm like, obviously, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to that. That's why I'm not a grader. But I was really happy to see this come back at such a high grade, and I'm sure I will never see this ever again in my lifetime. I don't know what the odds are of coming back at 10, but have you guys read this comic? Have you guys read any of the Charles Soule, Ryan Browne comics? I have not read Curse Words, and that is one that I want to get the graphic novel of, because this was my introduction to them, and I absolutely adore this comic. I know it's been picked up by Amazon, and Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are attached to produce. So, and I think I read the other day that it's like a movie that they're planning on producing. So I'm really kind of excited about that. But also, I just love the story and love the world that they built here. So, have you guys read this? If not, I highly recommend it. But if you have, let me know your thoughts on it. Also, let me know your thoughts on the 10.0. What do you think? Again, have you ever gotten a 10.0 comic? But that's all I got for everyone today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And as always, collect what you love.